Okay, I'm going to start off saying our pilot site consisted of 60 units, and my concern was that the smokers that we had tagged as the residents that we had tagged as smokers, I don't feel like they're really dedicated to the program and to quitting smoking. And as this says, I asked a lot of the some of the residents in a resident meeting whether or not they had been journaling or how everything's been going, but I didn't get a response. And it's like one of them, I was sitting beside, he had a cigarette on his ear, and by the time I was leaving the residents meeting, they were all grouped together and smoking. So I just didn't feel like they were dedicated to the program. But we originally sent out a survey months ago, and out of the 60 households, we had 18 smokers that stated they were, 18 residents that stated they were smokers and wanted to quit. We had our first meet and greet with smokers who self-identified in the survey in March, and out of the 18, we only had 13 that attended the meeting. We recently, we even, and of course, we even had welcome bags and all kinds of incentives and lunch for them at the meet and greet, just so that, you know, we could try to get them to come back to other meetings. Our first smoke-free cessation quarterly meeting was held June the 12th, and out of those 13 that originally came to the meet and greet, we had 5 of those regulars that came back to the quarterly meeting, and we actually had 1 new smoker that attended. Hope Health also had a representative to speak to the residents, and we even gave out incentive bags at that meeting for the first 5 people that arrived at the meeting. I guess I've been attending the residents meeting and trying to keep the smokers aware of the upcoming events, but we still haven't had the turnout that I feel like we should have. Hope Health has created a new survey that I found out yesterday, where I thought we were going to pass them out to all the households personally, but we decided that we're going to have the residents complete the survey as they come to the weekly behavioral health session that Hope Health is having at the site, and also at the monthly residents meeting. That way we can determine afterwards how many of the residents we have not completed a survey and go door to door then to have those that have not completed the survey completed. So with the incentives and the food and actually getting another survey out, I'm not quite sure what else we can do to get these residents to attend the meeting and even say that they are smokers and would like to quit. So I need your help. We need your help.
Thank you, Deborah. Sounds tricky there. So let me open it up to questions from both the panelists and anybody in the audience. The audience, everybody on the call, questions.
If you're talking, you're on mute.
Hi, Becky and Rich. This is Linda Bailey, and thanks, Deborah, for raising your question. I was wondering if in your meetings you had encouraged anybody to either seek cessation treatment through through Hope Health or through the Quit Line, or if anybody had been if resources like that had been made available to people, if you had any feedback on whether the original 18 or 13 who attended your meeting were actively seeking any intervention.
At our meet and greet, Hope Health was there. They did some paperwork on some of the residents that were there. We gave out brochures. The quit line, we introduced the quit line. Also, our DHEC representatives from DHEC were there, and they also gave information to them.
Great. It sounds like a good meeting, and resources were made available. You know, I know the health department and at the state level, and I don't know if this happens at the county level as well, but they certainly do a lot of promotion around the importance of quitting. Has there been any activity between you and the state health department on promotion issues?
Yes. Well, as far as the brochures, is Helen on the line? I don't know if she was on the line, but she's our representative that's been helping us and coming to the meetings.
Mm-hmm.
She's come to our meet and greet and our first quarterly meeting, and she's been talking to the residents one-on-one, the ones that have attended. But as far as just getting them in the door, we haven't been able to get the turnout that we wanted. So that's why we were going to do another survey and try to find out if there were even individuals, they may not be smokers, but they may have someone in the household that they want to quit smoking and did not say they were smokers. So.
Okay. Well, you know, I just wanted to remind all of us about the statistics related to smokers. You know, 70% of smokers say they want to quit. They're interested in quitting. So I just wanted to mention that so you don't feel too frustrated. I mean, these are people who've been smoking for a long time. Many of them are highly addicted, but they do want to quit. And so, you know, continuing the work you're doing, continuing to encourage them is really, really important. And, you know, if you have the names of those 18 who first came to your meeting and said they were smokers, it may be worthwhile to, you know, just have a list of them and try to get to know them a little bit better in terms of what might motivate them. And I know on some earlier calls, Frank and Amy and others had ideas for really what motivates people to think about quitting. You know, if they have children living in the household, if they have a pet that might be impacted by that smoke, if they themselves have recently been diagnosed with a new chronic disease that's related to their smoking. These are all things that will motivate people on an individual level. And it sounds like maybe some of that is going to be needed here. So I just wanted to put that on the table and see if Amy or Frank have any additional advice on those. You know, in the past, we've been talking just about sort of an individual and looking at ways to motivate that person to think about quitting. It takes a little bit more time and effort to do that, but I just wanted to put that on the table for you and see if there might be others within the housing administration who could help you to reach out to these folks and just look at what might be motivational to them. And again, you know, we know that 70% of all smokers are interested and want to quit, and each year about half of them try to quit. So we want, you know, to know of those 18 you have, which 9 are going to try to quit, and how can we make it more successful for them?
Okay.
Hi, Deborah. This is Bob Burns from the National Center for Health and Public Housing. I'm just wondering, are you just concerned about getting the 18 to show up, or are you concerned that not enough folks showed up in general?
I'm concerned about getting the 18 to show up, and if there are any more that are out there that did not actually self-identify to being a smoker.
Okay. Well, I mean, I agree with Linda. I think if you could get the content, as far as the 18, if you could get the contact info and kind of reach back to the 18, if that's possible, that'd be a good first step. And then maybe if there, you know, we talked last week about some, you know, certain promotional events and health fairs and haircuts and whatever that might entice people to kind of attend. And maybe if you could kind of piggyback and maybe make it some kind of a fun thing in addition to a practical and important thing. And then as far as, addressing the 18 or even the 13, if you could kind of introduce counseling maybe immediately into those sessions that you're having, and maybe the possibility of some kind of, I think somebody, one of the chats noted a buddy system, but even where a community health worker or another former smoker who's maybe quit or who's in the process could team up in order that they kind of challenge each other and support each other to make it work. So those are just a couple of thoughts.
Okay, and we did begin the behavioral health classes that Hope Health is over those classes. We were going to have them at Hope Health, but we rethought the process and we actually brought the sessions to the site, and so that it could be right there where the residents could come and didn't have to worry about transportation or anything like that. And that started 2 weeks ago, but I haven't got a feedback on how many have been attending those sessions. So.
Well, that's great, and I know Alan Geller has spoken to the group early on, but his program in Boston is really focused around individual counseling, and they got great results. So I don't know if it's feasible for you, but either with a legit counselor or an allied health person or CHW or peer counselor who might be able to reach back and maybe even do individual visits. I mean, that's proved to be highly effective. It's a little more costly and a little tougher to manage, but if you can identify the resources, it's a great way to go.
This is Nicole Quick with Hope Health, and I'm the one who facilitates the No Buts About It smoking cessation classes weekly. We did have our 2 sessions thus far, and the patients that we have, or the residents that we have attending, it averages about 4. They seem committed to attending the sessions. However, they have not committed to quitting just yet. So I'm not exactly sure. I do believe that maybe having an individual visit between sessions might be helpful for them to maybe keep that motivation going. I'm just not sure. I can't put my finger on it just yet, just meeting with them, but they do seem very involved, and they are at different places. So they have been smoking, over 30 years. They have quit for a while and things like that. So maybe having someone, meet with them or talk with them individually between those sessions might be helpful.
Thanks, Nicole. I wonder, Steve or Amy?
This is Steve Schroeder out in San Francisco. Deborah, I can understand your frustration, but I would echo what some of the others have said, that this is a long process. Sometimes you plant a seed and it takes a while for it to grow. So don't give up. These people have been smoking for a long time. They're addicted. Many of them want to quit. And sometimes interventions make a difference 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks from then. So don't give up. The only intervention I might add, and you've probably done this, is to see if you can have some individual conversations with some of the 18 or the 13 and see if there's anything else you can do that would help them in this journey. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Amy Score from University of Wisconsin. Thanks, Deborah, for sharing all of that information. And I too understand your frustration. Some of my initial thoughts were those incentives, and I think you're doing great with providing lots of different incentives with the welcome bags, and food is always a big one. Providing food or some type of meal, snack can be a big draw. I think promotion is key. And related to promotion, thinking about kind of that framing and the context. So thinking about, if you're promoting quitting smoking or ways to quit, to maybe think about framing that as making changes to smoking or getting just information on smoking behaviors. So that can be kind of important to get people more interested, less pressure. So just a thought to kind of think on. Maybe you're already doing that, but something that kind of came to mind. Also incorporating other kind of changes or healthy behaviors that can be weaved into smoking. So smoking affects, all different areas of life, whether that be your physical health, mental health. So if you can kind of weave in within the content of quitting or getting information about quitting or just their smoking in general, ways to discuss, healthy eating habits or increasing exercise. If you're able to quit smoking, you're going to be able to taste food better. So looking at, how you can incorporate those healthy food choices when they're able to quit, increasing exercise, even like meditation or yoga can help them to quit, can be something that can help them quit and can also help them their mental health. So kind of if you're able to maybe weave some things in like that, so it makes things a little bit more fresh, not just focus on their tobacco necessarily, but tobacco and smoking is weaved into that. So that might be another kind of take on getting people more interested and keeping things a little bit fresh and new too.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Amy. Thanks, Steve and Linda as well. Any other thoughts, questions, or suggestions for Deborah?
Couple things in the chat that I wanted to draw everybody's attention to. Celeste said we also have individual point goals for incentives as well as a team goal for group incentives. So it's more of a way to encourage them to work together. So that's a great idea. And then he said one incentive we thought about was a fresh paint job.
What is that?
I love that.
Oh, hey, I was just kind of chiming in on that. If somebody has quit for a while, then they can get their house painted on the inside. Maybe as an incentive.
Okay.
Heath, that sounds like a great idea. Have you used that at all, by chance?
We've just thought about it. We haven't really thought through the logistics of that yet.
That's great.
Well, thank you, everybody. Deborah, any questions from you?
No, thanks for the good ideas. I appreciate it.
Agreed. And so I know Becky's going to compile the notes and we'll get them out to you so you can take a look at them after. But this is a great conversation. Thank you so much.